Reports are escalating surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays this offseason as a recent report has dropped revealing a new Blue Jays target and also gave some interesting insights surrounding Bo Bichette's future in Toronto. So I'm going to break all it down in this episode, but before we get into it, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. If you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Without further ado, let's get into it. We have a lot to go over today. Obviously, the World Series are still going on, but it should be wrapping up, and it will be wrapping up very, very soon. And then free agency is going to get underway, and that it means Atkins is going to have to get on the phone and start making some phone calls. Specifically, one of the biggest things he's going to have to talk about and really make a decision on is A, of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. getting an extension in Toronto, but B, Bo Bichette's future with the club. And we obviously know that Bo Bichette, he said he wants to stay in Toronto. There's been some conflicting reports. Some people say he doesn't want to stay in Toronto. A report from Bob Nightingale came out revealing that he's not going to re-sign in Toronto if they let him head to free agency after this season. And so a lot of different reports. But a new target has been revealed, and you can see this here. So Toronto Blue Jays interested by a $152 million free agent shortstop. And basically what it goes on to say is the Blue Jays are looking to move on from shortstop Bo Bichette, and according to reports, he could be interested in signing Milwaukee Brewers shortstop Willie Adames. As the Blue Jays are currently shopping Bichette, it seems that many teams could be interested in making a trade, such as the Dodgers, Brewers, Braves, and they've all expressed interest in Bo Bichette. See this here. So Jays are currently shopping Bichette. Basically, here was the report. So it says, quote, Toronto could look to trade him, clearing a lane for Relvis to become up to the big leagues and start at shortstop. Bichette is still young and packs a ton of talent, so his value in a trade would be higher than his play last year, especially with how many teams are going to be looking for a shortstop this winter, wrote Presnell. The Dodgers, Braves, and Milwaukee Brewers all come to mind that would be aggressive in trying to acquire Bichette if the Jays opt to move him. So just a few things here. For one, there's no world they call up Relvis Martinez and he's going to start at shortstop. That's just not going to happen. That being said, I do think if they look to trade Bo Bichette, Relvis, it does clear up a spot for him to potentially start at third base next season. There's no world in my mind that they start Relvis Martinez at shortstop. He already has maybe second base, but he already has not great defensive ability. So him starting at shortstop would be ridiculous. So that part of this article was a bit dumb and stupid. But aside from that, it does make sense that, you could trade. You're trading Bo Bichette. It opens up some spots specifically for Relvis Martinez, depending how he does next season. Now, whether he starts the season with the Blue Jays is still up in the air. It depends how he does in training camp and spring training and all these different things. In the offseason, obviously, is training throughout the summer and the winter. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But one of the more interesting things here is that Willie Adames. So Willie Adames is set to be a free agent this winter, as we all know. And he's going to get a huge payday coming off of a career year, 32 home runs, 112 RBIs. And his projected contract is $152 million over 6 years. The Brewers would love to have him back, but they do not generally dish out that kind of money. Bichette signed a 3-year, $33 million extension in 2023. He'll be free agent after next season. Now, that extension was buying out his arbitration years. He wasn't actually extended beyond that, so he's still going to be a free agent after next year. But 6 years, $152 million. That is very interesting to me. So you think about this now. If you're at 6 years, $152 million, would the Blue Jays be willing? And the article says they haven't really been willing to ship out that kind of money. That's not the case, really. José Berríos, they gave out that money for. Kevin Gosse, they gave out similar money for. And of course, George Springer, 5 years, $150 million. So they've shown a willingness in the past to shell out money for star players. Whether or not you think Willie Adames is a star player is the biggest question. We know that last year, again, he had 32 home runs, 112 RBIs for a very solid Milwaukee Brewers team. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for them to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to trade Bo Bichette. We're going to acquire Willie Adames in free agency, start him at shortstop. You maybe open up a spot then at third base for a roster spot for Relvis Martinez to start at third base. And then you have Vladdy at first and you make another trade for a power hitting outfielder. That would be very interesting. If you're watching this video right now, leave in the comments down below, would you be interested in a framework like that? You trade Bo Bichette, you have Willie start at shortstop, you acquire, of course, an outfielder either via free agency or in the trade for Bo Bichette, a power hitting outfielder. And then you kind of have a regroup team there. You have Adames at shortstop, and you still have second and third base to figure out. An alternative route would be screw trading Bo Bichette. You keep him, you put him at second base, and then you keep Willie Adames, and you sign him at shortstop. So then you have shortstop Willie Adames, who's a very good defender, and then you have Bo Bichette at second base. Like, there's a lot of different moving pieces here that could happen with this team. A lot of ways to go about this if you're the Toronto Blue Jays. And that's why this offseason is going to hopefully be very exciting, because they have so many possibilities and so many different combinations they can do to improve this team, something they haven't done over the past few years. And it's interesting. You can see this here. So this was part of another article. Basically, the four most likely teams to make a push for Willie Adames, and Toronto Blue Jays was there. Sticking the AL East, the Jays could also use a third baseman. Adames has never played the position in the big leagues, but he's got the range and throwing arm to make the transition with ease. Bichette is the Blue Jays shortstop, and even a trade for Adames would not change that. The former took some serious strides in defense last year and is undoubtedly the face of the franchise. With that in mind, Adames would have to play elsewhere and all these different things. And again, this was a while ago. This was way back. At this point now, Adames would, of course, be a free agent. But I just wanted to bring up this article. It is old. It obviously mentions Matt Chapman. But it just brings up the fact that they've been linked to Willie Adames for so long. Of course, this report just dropped a couple days ago. But he's been linked for so long. You think back now, when this article dropped, I believe in 2023, he was linked to him then. And then now, we fast forward a year later, he's still linked to the Toronto Blue Jays. And other guys like Nolan Arenado have been linked to the Jays, a bunch of different guys. But as you look deeper and deeper, I think Willie Adames makes some of the most sense if you are a Toronto Blue Jays fan, because, again, he's been linked to the Jays in a while. They attempted, or at least were named in rumors back in 2023, like the article just said, in linking a trade for Willie Adames, not necessarily Bichette for Willie Adames, but at that point, it was just a trade for Willie Adames back in 2023. And now, 2024, we have new reports, like I just mentioned, coming out, linking the Jays to Willie Adames. So there's just a lot of different interesting theories and, reports going around surrounding him. And the biggest thing here is whether or not they're going to trade Bichette. They could trade Bo, and there's a very good chance that they shake something up. I'm not sure if Bichette is the one that's going to get moved. I think there's a better chance they extend Vladdy, they keep Bichette as is, and just see if they can compete. And then if they aren't competing by the trade deadline, they go ahead and move off of them. But I do also think there's a world where they go all in this free agency. They're going to be going for guys like Alex Bregman, who can play third base, Willie Adames, who can play shortstop, Teoscar Hernandez, who can play outfield, Juan Soto, who plays outfield, all these different guys. It's going to be a very, very interesting next few months, specifically surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays. And again, they've been linked to so many guys in the past. It's going to be interesting because they also have a ton of young players who are on the horizon of coming up. Obviously, a lot of the starting pitchers have been dealing with injuries, but you think of guys like Aurelvis Martinez. You have some other guys. I mean, we acquired Joey Loperfido last year, and he played at the deadline last season, and he played a bunch of games with the Jays. Didn't look quite MLB ready, but he surely seems to factor into left field this season. I don't know if they want to start him in left field to start the year. I don't know if that's their goal, because I'm not sure if he's a good enough left fielder at this point of his career. I think he could use some development. I don't know if that's in AAA or at the big leagues, but regardless, they still need some more power hitters. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Toronto Blue Jays, specifically their outfield, and of course at the shortstop position, because the biggest question mark going forward is what will Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s contract be, and will Bichette be a Toronto Blue Jay both at the start of the season and by the end of the season, because a lot of that depends on how the Jays handle this offseason, depending if they want to go all in on this year in 2024 or if they want to hold out and wait and just see what happens after this upcoming season. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on all of this. Would you want to see Willie Adames in a Blue Jays uniform via free agency this offseason? Let me know. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you later.